Let's welcome on board Sandip Sabharwal then. And Sandip, hi, good morning. Lots to chat about, but why don't we start off by getting your views then on HDFC Bank, CLSA flagging off a lot of risk, high ask rate, tough environment, and twin challenges for deposit, which is why they've downgraded the stock to an underperformance slash the target price. Your take?
Yeah, hi, Aman. These are the issues which all of us knew that these exist, and that's the reason I was not very bullish on HDFC Bank to start with, one after the merger was announced. So I think many analysts are realizing it now. So hopefully, what this will do is that the negativity it creates will help the stock create some durable bottom, and then it will come into the buy zone because longer term it's a good bank, all of us know, but it faces challenges for the next 1 or 2 years. And the key is now what would be the right price to enter into the stock.
Right price to enter the stock then, according to you?
My estimate would be more near 1300 rupees.
Okay. Let's look at last week's data, please. Last week data for indices, small cap, mid cap, large cap, and no prices for guessing. Nifty was up, but small cap was down. And that turn which we've been talking about, that markets will look optically good, but markets will start showing signs of crack in the excesses. Small and mid cap stocks have started correcting. 2.5% for the index. Well, that's the index. Individual stocks have corrected much, 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 much more. Sandeep, is this, I mean, everybody was anticipating this kind of a divergence, that large cap will finally come back and small cap will start going down. Have they corrected enough, or this downslide in small caps will continue?
See, if you look at it, because in a holistic picture, the correction is hardly anything. If you see the way the indices have moved, the correction needs to be much more for many of the stocks or the indices by itself to come into a decent valuation zone. Remember that the small and mid cap indices are at least 25 to 30% more overvalued vis-a-vis the long-term valuation. So they are not cheap. So the risk always remains out there. What supporting these stocks and indices has been the incessant flows into mutual funds as well as PMSs, AIFs, etc., focusing on these categories. But I think fund flow led moves eventually reach a threshold and then correction happens. So my guess is there should be more correction, and that that will be healthy for the markets.
Can you analyze the small cap index for our viewers? What is the index like now?
Yeah, so the small cap index is still struggling for a fresh new all-time high. But if you look at it, we've still not broken swing lows. And for a period of time, say a few months back, there was a concern that the small caps were overheating. We were making new highs on small caps and the index was struggling. So finally, we are getting normalized. As of now, there is no momentum equivalent to the Nifty. But the fact is, even on the Nifty, what we are seeing is a few heavyweights have done well. The largest weight, HDFC Bank, is still not doing as much of a contribution. So overall, we are still in a consolidation mode for the small cap as well as for the Nifty, but the bias still remains positive till the time we don't break swing lows on either of them. So if you look at the BSE small cap index, till the time we hold above the 43,000 mark, the trend remains positive.
Okay, Sandeep, the buzz started that Tata Sons will have to go public. And the reason was, look, it's an NBFC, there is an RBI guideline there. Now it appears that they will be able to make some changes in the structure so that they can avoid the compulsion of going public. But markets are markets. Stocks which have ownership in Tata Sons, they've gone up. Tata Chemicals, or for that matter, Tata Motors, or for that matter, Indian Hotels. Could those stocks, will all that recent gains, will that get challenged now, Sandeep?
So some part of the moves in some of these stocks have been fundamental and some technical, like you said. So I think for movement, especially in Tata Chemicals, where the base business is facing challenges in terms of profitability, there the reversal could be faster. for Tata Motors and Indian Hotels, where the companies themselves are doing very well, I think there it could be more moderate in terms of a reaction.
What lies the stocks? Chambal breakout, Tata Tele breakout. Not too many stocks actually on Thursday showed signs of any kind of a fresh breakout. I want to go back to Reliance again, and Reliance and Reliance Jio. Now Jio, it's hard to imagine that what is the new trigger. Why has the stock gone up from levels of 240 to 300 plus in just a jiffy? But for Reliance, I guess the leadership is evident. In this year, Reliance, I think, has added about 15%. Sandip, can Reliance be the stock of the year? So far, it is showing all the signs of leadership.
Yeah, it's possible because there is scope of profitability improvement in at least two of its businesses, the retail side as well as on the telecom side. And uh, the lack of aggression on the telecom side, which they've recently shown, but they have not hiked prices, but they are not trying to compete on tariffs. That has created positive momentum both for what could potentially happen for Geo on the telecom side as well as Bharti Airtel. So I think these two are drivers for the stock. Petrochemicals as well as the refining business, those tend to be cyclical. So I think we'll keep on seeing cyclical ups and downs. But on the retail and telecom side, there is still improvement potential.
The sense that you're getting as well, Sandeep, when it comes to some of those oil marketing companies with respect to the news of the LPG price cut coming in, the oil minister as well indicating that as of now, there's not going to be any price cut for fuels.
So the LPG price cut will hit the profitability of these companies because I think, as far as what I read, it takes them into selling these at a loss. Now, there could be also possibility of fuel price cuts going forward because crude prices are down and fuel prices actually can be cut and are not being cut. So we don't know about that. So that's an additional risk. And these stocks have gone up so much. So I think people should be wary of these stocks in my view.
Bharti, GQG has entered into Bharti. You know, when GQG comes after that Adani whole claim to fame, whatever stocks they bought, they've done reasonably well. I mean, they've been betting on infrastructure, very simple. And those things which they've been betting on infrastructure, they've done rather well. Whether it is GMR, whether it is Adani group of stocks, and now Bharti. 1200 rupees for Bharti. Is Bharti a good play, better than Reliance, Sandeep? Because you mentioned that, look, one of the businesses which will do well for them is telecom. And for Bharti, it is the only business. And it's the only business which is now showing signs of price discipline. Sunil Mittal came on ET Now and said that he expects ARPU to go to 300 rupees in the next 12 months.
So if ARPU is to go to 300 rupees over just a year, then the stock is still undervalued. But I think that's aggressive. That's what the company aims. Whether they'll be able to achieve that or not, I think it will be tough. But directionally, it's good. So Bharti as a stock, once it started its improvement cycle, I think that's continuing now. And my view is that it will keep on continuing. And typically, as profitability improves, stocks tend to keep on doing well. So I think Bharti should do well.
To closely monitor that stock as well in today's trading session. Meantime, we'll also be keeping an eye out on a whole host of other newsmakers, brokerage notes as well that have come in. For instance, you've got a Zomato as well that's in the spotlight, and SBI. Bernstein has downgraded the stock to a market perform, though they've hiked the target price to 780 from 710. There's Zomato. Yes, I was referring to that. Morgan Stanley has got an overweight rating on that stock, a target price of 180, saying that reports are suggesting that now Flipkart is planning to launch a quick commerce offering as early as May 2024. So that too is going to be a big factor to watch out for. PSUs, and Sandeep, wanted to just get in your take as well, given that Kotak is talking about how the broad-based rally in the PSUs is largely driven by a top-down bullish sentiment and now no major structural fundamental developments being seen. Your take on the entire run-up that we've seen in PSUs across the board?
Yeah, I would tend to agree with that because the run-up has been across the board in companies which are doing well, companies which are not doing well, and companies which are supposed to do well but have not done well till now. So, like all of us know, it started off with the railway and PSU defense companies, and then it's gone down to other companies. So longer term, the defense and railway companies could still do well, although the valuation right now are very extended, so they could correct. But many of the others, I think, the move has been unnatural and might not sustain.
I'm just wondering, is there anything that you think we need to really ask him to understand the underlying trend within the sector as a whole? Anything you'd like to hear?
I think Tata Consumer has been the outlier in the consumer space in terms of the way the companies performed and the stocks performed. So I think the key is to ask them about their recent acquisitions, what they think about it, and the potential they see in those, and how big they will be vis-a-vis their uh, overall current businesses in, let's say, 2 3 years.
Imagine if somebody made a mutual fund of HDFC stocks in 2000, held on till 2020, and you really made a killing. HDFC AMC went public, HDFC Bank turned out to be a great multi-bagger, HDFC Limited did well. Similarly, in 2020, if you made a pure portfolio of only Tata group of companies, Tata Power, Indian Hotels, you've actually hit it out of the park. Even Tata Power, even Tata Consumer for that matter, Tata Investment for that matter. Now, what we're discussing, Sandeep, are passe examples. What could be that big trade for next 5 years or 3 years in terms of making a portfolio of a group?
So all the large group stocks, if you see, they have already done quite well. You see Tata's, you see Mahindra Group, you see Adani's, you see Reliance. So tough to pick out a group at this stage. So the I think the main thing is that if the economy can sustain a 7 to 8% growth over the next few years, my guess is many companies and many groups will continue to do well.
All right, Sandeep, good to have you on board. Thanks, as always, for joining in. What's